And welcome back to Magic the Gathering Legacy Review, Rock versus Bug. This is round 2, game 1. This opening hand here is absolutely terrible against anything that isn't pretty much aggro. You're decent against mid game only because if the only mid-range decks in the format are Rock. Maverick, which I hold true that Maverick is a mid-range deck that has aggro potential and a lot more aggro potential than other decks. You get Blue-Red Delver as an aggro deck, which this is great against. Against Canadian Thresh, which is a temple-based aggro deck, it's great against everything but the Mongoose or Mongeese. I don't know which is plural, if it is actually goose or geese there. But to my knowledge, they're playing 3 to 4 of them, which means that there are better chances of them drawing any other creature, including Delver, than actually having the Goose. That being said, of those two, we'd rather them have the Goose because it'll take them longer to flip it or to power it up. Combo is pretty much non-existent in this format. It's limited to Hive Mind, and you see Tess a little bit, you see Belcher a little bit, but due to all of the blue and the forces, which are starting to drop, so people may want to start looking into combo, the fact that green can fight combo helps out there. I'm going to pause this and skip ahead. Alright, here we are at about the minute 30 mark, just a little bit after that, seconds. So if you want to start at a minute 30, that's fine. I'm going to try and put the times down in there, and I'll figure out how to link them later. I've been really lazy on learning YouTube and different things to do. I mean, I could HTML that thing, but I don't know if the comments take HTML, so yeah. Here we have our first thing, and it's not a misplay, it's just something I want to clarify. There are times that you don't want to actually swords after, that you want to actually kill something first. If you need to get damage through, like this would be 1 extra damage guaranteed. In this case, we'd rather save the swords if we can. I mean, we still don't know exactly what our opponent's playing. They could be playing a blue-black tempo deck, they could be playing blue-black control, they could be playing Bug, they could be playing Esper. We don't know. They haven't done anything significant enough for us to actually tell. So that's why we're trying to conserve cards as best we can. I'm going to go ahead and I've paused the actual moving video. I'm going to pause this and skip ahead a little bit more. Or not, just simply for the fact that what I mentioned during the video was talking about aiming at top. The thing is, top can basically protect itself. It's tap, draw a card, and put top on top, which means top's not in play for you to destroy. The only way to actually hit it with anything that doesn't have split second, i.e. Corrosive Grip or Wipe Away, is to A, make them top and shuffle it away, or B, make them actually tap it to draw a card and destroy it with that on the stack. In doing so, be reminded that they still get the card. That's why it's so good with Goblin Welder. So yeah, we're gonna skip ahead now. Alright, here we are back. We're at about the 3:30 mark, just a little bit after that. What we're getting ready to do is Swords is Goyf. Fine play. The only thing that we need to make sure that we do is, if you look at the graveyards, we have sorcery land. We have instant land. He has sorcery land. This Bog should have been done first. That's all. It gives our opponent 1 extra life that they didn't need. We just gave it to them. Ready for that game-changing event, the part where we actually do lose this match. For a couple things here, the Bog, or the 2 equipment in the deck, Jit and Batterskull, actually serve better in 2 entirely different matches. Jit is the aggro card, and Bog, or Batterskull, why do I keep saying Bog? Batterskull is the control card. Our opponent is playing a control deck. There was no reason to go get that Jit. We should have gotten the Batterskull. Not only does it threaten to put another creature into play, which forces our opponent to have the Dark Blast, to kill our creature in some way, shape, or form. And I say Dark Blast. You can kill a 2 toughness creature with a Dark Blast. You basically time walk yourself to do it, though. Sometimes you need to kill that creature. For instance, if this was turn 3 and he's got Jace Force in hand and has the Dark Blast, and I have a Teague in the field, it's worth it to time walk yourself there. And when I say time walk, yes, you did clear up a problem on the board, but you essentially didn't do anything for your hand or your board position other than kind of interact with mine. I mean, I get to draw a whole new card. You've milled 3 cards, which in theory is supposed to be better for you, but I mean, in practice, sometimes the odds don't go your way. So we're not going to get hung up on that. Should have fetched the Batterskull here. Actually, I believe that this is the point where I lost the game. Like, giving them the life from the Goyf, keeping the sketchy hand, all of those things, not as big a misplay as fetching the Jit. The Batterskull should have been the fetch. It would have forced him to bounce with Jace to have removal. And if he does bounce with Jace, we get the Jit anyway. And the Jit, being the weakest of the cards, is actually the one that we want to get rid of. Immediately followed up with our card to discard actually should have just been the Knight. If we drew a land, what we would have been allowed to do is, well, I take that back. It should have been the Pridemage or the Knight. The Diamond, we need a land, any land. And as I'm justifying it while I'm playing, I'm saying we need any land in the Mox Diamond goes active, but that's true. But the part that I didn't take into consideration was the fact that not only do we need a land, we need a green land. So a halfway figured out plan, and it turned out that I chose the wrong thing. So I accidentally dipped the diamond and ditched the diamond, and that's pretty much it at that point. We have no possibility of getting a green outside of top decking a green source for a land, in which case 3 different green sources, 2 fetches, and a Bayou are already in the yard. So you're starting to catch up on that color combination here. That's being said, we're going to go on to the next thing, and we'll be back in just a moment. So remember what I said about fetching Batterskull being wrong? This is exactly why. I mean, we could have easily flashed the Batterskull in on our turn and done things there. Coming up here as soon as it gets to our turn. Our opponent has 2 cards in hand. I start thinking removal counterspell, which would be entirely wrong. By the way, there's the land for the diamond from the previous turn. And in doing so, I think that he's got a force for some strange, crazy reason. That would be the worst cards for him to keep. I mean, yeah, we get to attack Jace for 1 because we're not going to... We'd rather him go ahead and to himself. But had we just played the Jit and swung, we could have at least killed off the Snapcaster that our opponent plays. That being said, again, if we had played the diamond, we could have played another creature and just swung into Jace. So it's kind of about what we did and what we didn't do. Knight at this point, if he did flash it back, would be too big for the Ghastly Demise. Most people aren't aware of that. You can still target the creature. The Ghastly Demise would have been a legal target even if the restriction, or even if it just could only target things that had power weaker than cards in your graveyard, and it would fizzle on resolution. So Knight being a 5/5 would have made it bigger. He would have still been able to attack Liliana, but we would have gotten to play Knight. He would have top decked. We would have played Knight again. All sorts of different things. Instead, we do this, and we lose the game because of it. Mainly because we fetched the wrong equipment. I mean, that yes, he could have easily played out the Snapcaster on his turn, forced us to discard, or forced the Stoneforge to die, and then we would have edicted him, and he'd had a Jace at 2 versus us with nothing on the board, really, except for a Jit in hand. But, I mean, what are the chances? Alright, we're going to go to the next game, though. That's it for us. We lose from here on out. It just gets worse and worse. He gets a Goyf, which Goyf would have been smaller than Knight as well. So, yeah, we're going to keep going. By the way, I just wanted to make note, this is the first one that's shorter than the actual game. Oh, yeah.